And in order for you to build your business strategically from here onwards, right, you must have a strong foundation to grow in 2023. And that's why we're covering all of this morning. If you don't have that foundation, every tactics and ideas that you have, you cannot so-called manifest it, you cannot execute that because you don't have the foundation yet. So once you have that foundation, everything that comes in can stack on and for you to grow. So how do you have the strong foundation? To have a strong foundation is you must first be strategic. So these are the international player strategies. I have the international player book. It's also available outside if you want to get a copy if you don't have a copy yet. So I'll teach you the core strategy here, which I think will be sufficient. But if you want to learn more, you can get a copy of the book. So this is the international player. We set this for, I think, about, after converting to ringgit, it's about 40 ringgit. Anyway, in order to be strategic, you must also understand where you are at this moment of time so that you can apply the right strategy at your level. So there are 3 levels: start phase, sustain phase, and growth phase. There are 3 levels. Most people who doesn't do their business strategically do not know where they are at. Therefore, it is almost impossible for them to execute anything that they have learned. So a classic example is if someone is at a start phase and he try or she try to apply strategies for growth, it doesn't make sense, right? Or at growth phase and then you are using basic stuff, that's why you're not seeing the income that you could be making. So 3 phase. Now, where you are at, you know, I do not know, right? Because you are not my private client, I don't work with you one-on-one, I do not know what level that you're at. But let me just break it down. Depending on which level that you're at, these are what you need to focus on. Start phase would basically means that you are just getting started at inception level. It means that you have the idea, you have all of those. You know what to do, but you haven't truly launched yet. That would be the start phase. Or you could just launch, but you haven't truly go all out yet. You're just there. Sustain phase, basically you have already launched, you have somewhat success, but you are at a level where it could be full-time, could be part-time, but you haven't have a breakthrough yet. It means that you haven't break through the ceiling, so to speak. You're doing okay. And of course, growth phase means, hey, you know, you are doing more than usual, and you say, all right, this is the time where I need to expand even further. So, start phase. Here are some key things that I want to share with you to focus on strategically. First, we must first address why most people never get started. Have you seen people who gone through all kinds of programs but they never truly got started? Right? There's actually many reasons behind that. But also, the core reason is actually more towards internal than external. Now, I'm not a motivational guru. I do not know how to motivate you. I do not know how to inspire you. I'm just not trained for that. I'm a business strategist. I just know how to show you to make money. That's all I do, right? But whether you act on it or not, I have no control. But I can share with you from my personal experience, the reason why people don't get started, I even shared the whole story in the book, is most people don't have a compelling reason to get started. That's the only reason, guys. You don't have a compelling reason, therefore you don't act on it. If you have a compelling reason, you will achieve success. So let's say, I'm just making this out. Let's say you're from outside of Malaysia, right? You have a one-way ticket, you fly here. And then in order for you to go back, you must make money online. Otherwise, you don't have money to buy your flight, go back. Do you think you make money online? I think you will. You see where I'm coming from? If, for instance, let's say I'm nobody, right? let's say a few years ago before pandemic. If let's say I don't have money and so on, if I'm not a guru, I'm not a best-selling author, I'm not an international speaker, I don't have a brand, things like that, you know where would I go? I would just go to China and stay at the area where people source for products. Even I do not know Chinese, I would just go and stay there for a month. And I think that I will become rich. You know what I mean? If I force myself to stay there, even though if I do not know Chinese, I will pick up Chinese in 1 month, right, and source for products to sell in Malaysia, Singapore, or even to the US. Because that is the hub. That's the hub for getting wholesale products and so on. It's actually in Shenzhen, right? If you force yourself, you will do it. But if we don't, if you're in a comfortable zone, then of course nothing happens. When I signed up for Unleash the Power Within that time, I put myself in a discomfort position because now I owe money to Jerome. And I need to make sure that I need to pay him back, right? So that's why in just a few months, I was able to make that money, which could never be possible for me in my entire life that time. So how do you craft a compelling reason? The most powerful compelling reason is a reason that you cannot back off. What do I mean by you cannot back off? You cannot back off means that you make an agreement with someone that you cannot let that someone down. So you have no choice right now. Who do you love the most? You don't have to answer me because I don't need to know your personal life, right? But let's say you choose your mother or your husband or your wife or your children. Let's take mother because everyone has a mother, okay? Right, because some of you don't have kids. Some of you are not married, but let's take your mother. What if you make a commitment to your mother that you have to achieve success and you cannot back that off? Now, I know this sounds very simplified, but that's what happens in my life. Because I make commitment to people who I love that I'm not going to be a bummer. Whatever I'm doing, whatever you're supporting me right now, I want to make sure that it's going to be worthwhile and I will not let you down. And that's why I have to achieve success. Imagine if your mother were to support you every time, financially, emotionally, everything, and yet you don't perform and then you don't achieve and you let her down. What kind of son are you? What kind of daughter are you? Of course, your mother don't expect you to achieve success because your mother only wants happiness for you. True? All the mothers in the room and the fathers in the room, that's all you want, right? But if you achieve success, you'll make her proud. That's what happened to me. I want to prove to my father, I want to prove to my mother, and to many people. So have a compelling reason that way. And most people would not make that compelling reason because they have the fear. They have the fear to let down someone else. Remember when you share with your friend the goal that you want to achieve, whether you want to make 5K a month, or whether you want to retire, or whether you want to buy the car, you want to buy the house, you got to have a compelling reason to achieve that. Otherwise, it's not happening. The next thing is the importance of starting on the right track. Oh my gosh, this is so important. And I'm teaching you to be strategic because my customers are, I would say, somewhat smarter. They are savvier, right? They are not the push button dudes. You know the push button dudes? Like, they are always looking for push button to make money online. We don't deal with all this kind of nonsense. We deal with building real businesses that generates income and adds value to customers. So what do I mean by starting right? So starting right, not just in terms of the execution of the ideas or the ideas and the strategies, but here, if we start on the mindset of get rich quick, all this kind of hypes, we will get in deeper into that world and we'll never be able to come out. And we're stuck there forever. And that is scary. I know some of my students who have been through that, and I managed to take them out. I don't want to name names, but he's here. If you don't mind, I can just share him also. that they will just try to do that, like try to make money online, try to find a quick reach, press a few buttons to get traffic, all this kind of stuff, right? And when that fails, they're going to find another thing that promise such thing, and their mindset has become delusional, lost touch with reality, what's possible and what is not possible. Sometimes they read too many books, right? A lot of motivational books that tells you, hey, you can achieve success, all that kind of stuff, but they don't really give you the guide. So it's important for you to start the right track, to have the right entrepreneurial mindset. You don't have to be an entrepreneur right now, but you must cultivate entrepreneurial mindset. What is entrepreneurial mindset? It means building business. What do you understand by building business? Building business require work. Building business require cost. You must understand that in order for you to succeed. If you don't do your work, you hire someone to do the work. Work still has to be done, right? But you want to, of course, work smart in that matter. So once you cultivate that, now you can start to, okay, these are the things that I'm learning. I can apply that. And then starting on the right track means that you want to learn the strategy that helps you to build the business and not doing it for just making money. There's a difference of making money and building business. Making money means you actively do something trying to make money. Building business means you actively do the actions to build the business so that the business makes you the money. Very, very, very different. Most people spend time on making money and not building business. Like when I do network marketing business a few years ago, I'm not here to recruit anyone. I'm not doing any of that right now. All right? So even though if you want to join under me, I'm not accepting because I can't do any training whatsoever. The point I'm saying is, when I built network marketing business, I was building a business. I wasn't focusing on trying to make money. I was focusing to build a network so that that network generates passive income, residual income, which I'm still collecting until today. That's what I mean, right? And if you focus on making money, you will quit. Why? Because to build a business at the beginning phase requires so much more work. And you don't see the money. And the next trick is this. I won't use the word trick. The next tactic is when you launch your business, your first product should be free. My gosh, this is like another winner. You get this, you just get my $1 million idea. Your first product should be free. Many people goes out to business and they want to start selling their products, right? You should not be focusing on that. Why? Your first product should always be free. Because you want to see whether it converts or not. If you cannot give away a free product that's supposed to be sold to people, how are you going to sell it? Make sense? And the second thing is that the reason why you give for free when you first start is because you want to focus on two of the most important principles of building a business, to build a database and to build your brand. You cannot build your brand if you don't have customers or people consuming your product. Understand that? Forget about dressing well. Forget about attending any branding classes to teach you how to walk and all this kind of stuff. Forget about all of that. Because nobody's going to see any of that if nobody is using your product. You only build your brand when they use your product and they say thumbs up. You only build your brand when they use your product and they go out there and share with others because they're happy with your product. And it's not about catchy titles, it's not about all of those. Of course, all of those are tactical. That works well after people have experienced your product. So I've seen people who say that, hey, I just want to get started, I want to sell this book, I want to sell this course, I want to do a coaching program, all this kind of stuff. Then I say, hey, have you coached people for free yet? Have you gotten some feedbacks whether your coaching is good or not? Do people like your coaching? Right? Do people like your book? All this kind of stuff. Now, of course, if you are on a different phase right now, then it's a whole different story, right? Like for instance, I remember earlier Jeffrey shared that he has sold some books in Amazon and so on. That's a different phase. That's not a start phase. He's already selling, then he can continue to sell. That makes sense? But let's say if I just want to get started, I will focus on giving away my paid product for free. So let's go to the next one. So when you got started, you are building your business. You need to maintain your level so that you don't collapse. You don't want to get started, get some sales, and then go down again. So in order for you to win this game, you must understand the formula called speed to sell. You must be able to sell as many as you can. The focus, it is not to improve your product. Your focus is to sell as many as you can, the initial product that you have. Even at the level that you're not making money, you must be selling hard and fast. You need to continue to do that so that you win your position. Classic example, this is something that I shared in my book, The International Player. If you read it, it's all here. It's a one-day read. I purposely keep it like really short, just about 100 plus page. If you read it, you'll finish it in a day. But the strategies is worth a lot. Priceless, right? Classic example that I shared here, because when I first wrote the first edition, it was year 2012. This is the second edition that is written, updated last year. But in 2012, the most competitive, I wouldn't use the word the most competitive, but a very competitive industry is the gaming industry. And the two giants involved are Sony and Microsoft. Microsoft has Xbox, Sony have PS4 or PS3 at that moment of time. How many of you play games? I play PS5. Okay, I don't play computer games. I don't play Counter-Strike and all this kind of stuff. For those gamers, you know what I'm talking about. Counter-Strike, all this kind of stuff. No, I don't play that. I play like Call of Duty, God of War, Splinter Cell. So these two giants are growing and selling their consoles. But Xbox has this problem called the red light problem. It's such a huge problem, it has a Wikipedia post on its own. Like literally in Wikipedia talks about Xbox red light problem. The console will get overheated after you play for a while. And then it was literally spoiled. It was so famous, get this, this side story. It was so famous, there's a ClickBank product just to teach you how to fix red light problem. And that product was selling really well. Can you imagine how crazy that is? So they have this problem, and yet they continue to sell their consoles anyway. Imagine this, you have a defective product, but you continue to sell. I have that problem because I bought that, but the point here is that, right, would you sell a defective product? Microsoft did, despite they know the problem. But what they do is that, never mind, you buy, spoil, you give me, I give you a new one. Spoil again, never mind, you give me, I'll give you a new one. Spoil again, I'll give you a new one. That is their model, their business model. Spoil, give out. Obviously, they're losing money by doing that. But if they were slow, Sony would have captured the entire market. They need the market share so that they can penetrate into the gaming industry, because the gaming industry is hot at that moment of time. Do you see that? It's a whole different strategy. If you don't understand that, as in like outsiders don't understand that, they will think that Microsoft is losing money. No, Microsoft is not losing money. They're losing money on the consoles, but they are winning in the market share. They don't want PS4 or PS3 to own the market solely. They need their own tribe, which is the Xbox tribe. And because they would probably make so much more money from the games itself, the games. Like for instance, famous games like Call of Duty and so on, they generate hundreds of millions. They make more money than Marvel movies. Do you know how crazy is that? They could make more than that. Okay, of course, you cannot take Iron Man. Iron Man makes that really, really good. So they make more money from that, because imagine, like, for instance, Call of Duty and so on, they probably have a revenue generated for like $500 million. And imagine each game sold, Microsoft will earn royalty. That is also translated to be called back-end sales, right? So now, when you have a product, when you start selling in the start phase, right, You must continue to ride on the momentum and keep on selling, keep on selling, keep on selling, keep on selling. Because you need to build on the momentum. Don't worry about improving the product yet at this moment of time. Because let me tell you something. Another rule in business, if you have cash flow, you solve all problems. Yes or not, Mr. Kang? Yes. You have cash flow, anything can be solved. You have cash flow, you become private client. Right? You have cash flow, you can hire people and so on. No problem. Right? No cash flow, all problems. Where does cash flow comes in? By selling. So next one is positioning your brand and your persona. At this stage, you must have a position. You must be known for certain expertise. So in your niche, let's say in a health niche. Health niche is very wide, but what are you known for? What is your positioning? You must be known for a kind of expertise related to the health aspect, whether is it about how to have better outlooks, how to have better health, better skin, whatever it is. So if you don't position yourself, you'll be one of the many people, or should I say marketers, in that niche. And that's bad. If you stay too long in there, you'll be an average known marketer for the rest of the days. Let's take success. Tony Robbins is the number one success coach in the world. That's why I learned from him. That's why I fly to Singapore to learn from number one. Why would you want to learn from number two? If you can learn from number one, you learn from number one. Because everybody learns from number one, right? So he is number one. I want to learn from him. Now, that's his brand. He's number one. But if someone gets into the self-help niche and teach about success, he will be competing, or she will be competing with Tony Robbins. He's not going to win. Nobody wants to learn from the number 100 coach, right? Right? Nobody's going to learn from that, even the number 5, if you want to learn from the number 1. So, from that perspective, this person who wants to get into the personal development niche should not be focusing on generic or general how to achieve success. He or she must position himself differently. It can still be about success, but what is the different methodology that you are using? That's called positioning. And then the next one is your persona, your character, yourself. And this has to be your personal branding. Now, we are not going to get, deep inside personal branding because it is not the right time yet. It's in the morning, right? We're not going to talk about that yet. But personal branding, it is more powerful than your product branding or even your company branding. Because personal branding allows you to execute it really fast and at an extremely low budget because it's personal brand, it is yourself. If you want to do branding for a product or a company, it's relatively very hard. Reason is because a product or a company doesn't have a face, doesn't have a persona. It's challenging to achieve that. Unless you want to spend millions of dollars, then that's a whole different story. But if you want to get out there and start making money, then the fastest way is to be your personal branding. And don't listen to those branding fellas who say that personal branding is bad because it's stuck to you. No, it's not that. Personal branding is more powerful because personal branding allows you to migrate your brand to every single product that you want to launch. Example. Let's talk about Tony Robbins again. Tony Robbins is not just in the personal development niche. But Tony Robbins is in many different niche markets. But because he is Tony Robbins, people will do business with him. Because he is known in the personal development niche. That's called personal branding. Like, for instance, my positioning, it's online business, digital marketing, creating wealth online. True? Yes. That's my positioning, right? But because I have personal branding, I can move that, for instance, I'm going to give real life example, into the MLM business. And I can succeed from there because I can use my personal brand to another product or another business. Imagine if I build a brand for Internet Mastermind, my company's name. I cannot do other business right now because the personal brand cannot be moved to something else if it's stuck on the company or on the product. So please, don't get all these branding gurus to confuse you that you should do company branding and stuff like that. Unless you are a big company and you have the millions of dollars of budget and trying to build a whole brand from scratch.